Hi. I've been wanting to record a video here for some time in front of this iconic structure, this iconic sculpture. And here I am today on this day, Trecena of No'j, making this recording, this video about the Trecena of No'j here in the university campus. So obviously with No'j representing knowledge and understanding, I felt that being on a university campus might be a great place to do just that. And, well, this statue, I mean, it says it all, is what everything should be about, right? And so, hopefully, what with it being 13 Aq'ab'al, I won't get ejected or interrupted or something like that, but who knows what's going to happen, so let's find out. Now, today, I actually really wanted to go somewhere else. I wanted to make you a video at sunrise this morning. It's the first day, according to the Dresden Codex, that Venus rises as the morning star. And so I was hoping to get out, but unfortunately there was too much cloud around, and so my early hour journey to the coast was cancelled kind of last moment. But I hope to get you some pictures next week of Venus rising as the morning star over Aq'ab'al, if all things go well, as next week I will be returning to Guatemala. So this will be one of my last video that I make here. And also kind of like I have some news that from the middle of October through to the middle of January, I'll be joining my wife in Berlin. And so for those of you in Europe and those of you particularly in Germany, if you want to get in touch, show me some interesting things in Berlin, I'd be very excited to find them. Anyhow, without further ado, let's get on to the Trecena of No'j. So No'j, what is No'j about? It's about knowledge, it's about learning, it's about understanding, it's about putting ideas together, right? And so when we see and we think about No'j, we're understanding that this is our minds working. This is the information that we're storing in our minds, that we're storing in our brains. As I said, a center of learning seems to be a particularly appropriate place to be talking about the No'j. Now, we could see this as this whole Trecena representing the solving of problems. We can see this as the whole 13-day period representing the acquisition of knowledge, of ideas, of understanding. And perhaps we can also see, if we see No'j as about coming up with a solution to problems, when we combine that on the first day of the Trecena with the number 1, we understand that this must be new knowledge coming in. This must be this new solutions coming up. And so one No'j might be a day for exactly that. Maybe you've gone as far as you need to go or can go with your studies. Maybe you've gone as far as you want to go with them. Maybe the knowledge that you're carrying does not solve the problems that you need it to solve, and so you need to find some new knowledge. So one No'j is a great day to begin that journey, of learning, to begin that journey of understanding, to come up with a new idea to help solve the problems of your world, help solve the problems within your community. Now, of course, it's not going to be fully fleshed out. It's just the beginning. But the intellect, the knowledge, and the information that you gather at this point in time may help you to truly come up with the new solutions that you need. From one No'j, we're then going to move into the day 2 Tijax, a day on which we may be separating very clearly what is it exactly that we are looking for within that knowledge. The two could be seen very much as duality, very much as 1 or 0, very much as those kind of polarities. And with Tijax, that clear definition, that obsidian blade which is cutting down the middle to understand, okay, this I want to keep, this I want to let go of. Now, we're going to see part of that with Cat as well later on. But with Tijax, it's like the identification, the cutting forward of what you could see between true and false. Those could be the polarities that you're looking at. And using that obsidian blade of discernment to cut through to what is true, love, and what is not true. Okay? And so yes, it can also be harsh. You know, it's kind of like it's healing, but it's also wounding. It's kind of both sides of that same story. And so we can understand that there is no in between. There's no spectrum on Tijax. There's no middle ground. It's either that side or that side. And so, it is a day to be aware of your words. It's certainly a day to be aware of your actions, and see what Tijax brings you. Now, from Tijax, we then move through into 3 Kawok. 3 Kawok being a very interesting day. The reason why I see it as interesting is because it is the continuation from Aq'ab'al. Now, I've talked about before, that in the cross of Aq'ab'al in particular, we go from the conception in 13 Aq'ab'al, I made my last video, through Aq'ab'al, the most important day, the day of creation within the calendar, the day of gestation of what we're creating. And then through that future, we could see as being what is being born. If it was conceived in 13 Aq'ab'al, if it was gestated in Aq'ab'al, it is then born in 3 Kawok, in Oshik Kawok. Now, this is a very interesting day, a very interesting sequence, because when we look at the 3, what does the 3 represent? It represents the inner world. It represents the home place, a place from which we emerged. It could represent the Orion Nebula, for example, which is said to be the birthplace of our sun. And so we see the 3 as the inner world, the place of emergence, with Kawok, which is helping it to give birth. So it's the birth that comes from the place of emergence. This is a highly creative day. It's a day of inner healing. It's a day to get to the understanding of what's going on, what's new within you. And for 3 Kawok to help to bring that out, to help to overcome the obstacles in your path, by understanding what is coming from within. So again, with 3 can be very creative when it is focused internally, when it is focused within the home. And the Kawok is helping that birth process to move forwards. Now, in its coupling with Tijax being one aspect of healing, Kawok being the other aspect of healing, we can see Kawok can also represent tough love. And it is, again, like the inner focus of like, right, okay, what do I want to birth into the world? Because, kind of like if we're looking at it from that point of view, we have to understand that there are certain things that are coming within that need to be birthed into our world. So what have you got within you that needs to be born into this new world? What can you use the Trecena of No'j to consolidate and overcome the problems to bring that birth forwards? Now, I'm talking about birthing, I'm talking about midwives with Kawok, but what are they birthing? The day for Ajpu. The day for Ajpu, for me, is a very, very exciting day. The reason why is because for Ajpu could be seen as the beginning of a new era of time. We see for Ajpu on the creation date Stella at Kirigua, for Ajpu a Kumku. We saw for Ajpu on December 21st, 2012, beginning of the new Bakton, for Ajpu 3 Kankin. And so it is the beginning of a new era of time. And we could see Ajpu as representing the divine, and we could see the number 4 as representing the physical plane of existence. So it's the manifestation of the divine into the physical. Now, Kawok is also referred to on occasion as the midwife to the resurrection of the Maize Lord being represented by Ajpu. So it's a stabilization of that which is holy into the world, the stabilization of your divine path could be another way of looking at it, and here in the physical plane. And so when 4 Ajpu comes around, what you're doing in this Trecena of No'j is applying that new knowledge to help you to understand how to physically walk your spiritual path. So look for those physical signs on 4 Ajpu. It's kind of like being given to you to create your new era, to bring your new world into existence. From 4 Ajpu, we're then moving into 5 Imox. Imox representing the dream world, representing the ocean, representing the lake, representing the great bodies of water. And here we see it with the number 5, representing work, representing energy, representing effort. And so if we saw it as your dreams, we could see 5 Imox very much as representing putting your effort, putting your energy, putting your work into the manifestation of your dreams. Now, 5s can sometimes also be seen as, they rush into things a little bit. They're kind of like they're in a hurry to get places. So it is somewhere where we're seeing, right, okay, I want to put my energy into my dream, but just be aware not to, kind of like leap before you look, because sometimes, kind of like we're very enthusiastic about getting our dream in. We've got our new knowledge that we want to take forwards, but we have to temper it a little bit. Maybe put the brakes on just a little bit. Put the work in, but don't try and leap forward too quickly, because, that might take us into some uncharted realms, which might not be quite as good for our dreams as we'd hoped they'd be. From 5 Imox, we're then going into 6 Aq'ab'al. Aq'ab'al, the day of announcements, the day of changes. Aq'ab'al, the day of the voice, using our voice to express. Aq'ab'al is certainly, come on through, it's fine. Yeah, of course, no problem. Aq'ab'al, very much representing the power of our voice and our ability to use it to communicate. Aq'ab'al, very much representing the changes which we come across in life. Now, what we also see with that is that Aq'ab'al is combined with the number 6, and the number 6 represents ultimate stability. It's like that physical plane of existence connecting with the above and below, and really bringing it in so that, kind of like we are using these words to stabilize. We are using this breath, the words that we carry, to bring stability to those around us, but also it's the stability of what we have to say. So we're in a time of new ideas, we're in a time of new learning, we're in a time of new knowledge. And here, it's like if you want to get your new idea across, then 6 Aq'ab'al is the day to get it out there. 6 Aq'ab'al is a day when the words all fall exactly as they should fall. 6 Aq'ab'al is a day when you may find the words inspired by heaven and earth being projected into the physical plane. So also, you might be listening up very well on 6 Aq'ab'al, because it may be that the knowledge that you need in order to bring that stability during this No'j Trecena is carried by those words on 6 Aq'ab'al. So keep your ears open and be ready for those messages. We also see that Aq'ab'al is about changes, and these changes might come in seemingly through changes in the wind. Now with that number 6, we see ultimate stability, and so those changes are being stabilized. And so again, it gives us this inspiration that comes from above and below of how to stabilize those changes in our physical plane of existence. From 6 Aq'ab'al, we then move into 7 Aq'ab'al, the end of the twilight. Okay? Now, again, we can see this in many, many ways. We can see this, Aq'ab'al, bringing something out of the darkness and into the light. I often think about Aq'ab'al in my own way as being like a pair of hands lifting the sun out of the underworld into the upper world. Now, that journey is twilight. And when we get to the point where the first ray of the sun breaches the horizon, we have now got to the point where we're no longer in twilight, we're in daylight. That is the end of the twilight. That's 7 Aq'ab'al. So it's kind of like the end of the twilight period and moving into the fullness of the day. So we could say that in this Trecena of No'j, maybe this is something which is, kind of like coming in with that. Maybe this really is kind of like the end of a time when you couldn't see your way through the night, and now you've got your new idea, you're ready to go forwards. It's bringing that new world into this world. The other thing that we could see with the 7 Aq'ab'al is in the Popol Vuh, we have this moment where the four first men are wandering around with the people, and it's kind of like this dark, kind of like twilight world, very much seems to be Aq'ab'al. And we then see them go to a mountain, and they make an offering, a fire, with their wives, where 4 becomes 8. But we see kind of like the end of the twilight coming around. Now it's interesting because what we'll see later on is the 13 Toch coming up at the end of this Trecena. But, kind of like that end of the twilight. The reason why I mentioned the coupling with the Popol Vuh is because as the original people were wandering around in the darkness, they weren't particularly happy about this cold, dark world, this twilight world, and they wanted the light to come. So they made the prayer on the mountain, and in it came. It ended the twilight. And so here we can see 7 Aq'ab'al could represent what we might kind of like interpret in our own way as the light at the end of the tunnel. This is the revelation which is coming to us, the illumination which is coming to us. And like ending that dark, kind of like in-between era. Saying, right, okay, now we're getting the first glimmer of twilight. Here it comes. We're ready for this new concept. From 7 Aq'ab'al, we then move into 8 Cat. 8 Cat representing the net, representing what we're carrying with us, all of our ideas, all of our suggestions, all of our knowledge perhaps in this Trecena of No'j. And here, connected with the number 8, representing, I like to, kind of like the wholeness, and I like to see it as kind of like the above and the below. Something which is in the darkness and something which is in the light. And we could see that as sometimes we, kind of like we need the whole understanding. It's no good just looking at things from like the perspective of the upper world or the perspective of the underworld. What are we going to keep with us? What are we going to gather? What are we going to let go of? What are we going to multiply? So with that, we could see that 8 Cat could very much be a great day to really be looking through the whole of what you're carrying in your mind in this Trecena of No'j, and work out which thoughts and which information are working with you, which thoughts, which information might be self-limiting, and you need to let go. Because Cat is all about, it's a great day for sorting things out. It's a great day about working what you're going to carry in your bag and what you're going to let go of, right? So if we're in the Trecena of No'j, why don't we apply that to the information that we carry? There's some things that used to work for us and don't work for us anymore. Maybe it's time to let go of them. Maybe we've got to make a bit of room in our mind to allow the new ideas, the new information to come in. 8 Cat is a great day to be working out what you want to gather, what you want to hold on to, and how you want to bring it together in order to multiply it. From 8 Cat, we're then going into 9 Can. So this is a really interesting Nawal as well, or combination, because we have Can representing the life force energy, representing the lightning in our blood, representing the spark of life itself, also representing wisdom and power. Now, the reason why I say it's particularly interesting is because when we see it coupled with the number 9, we're now seeing it coupled with the number of the feminine and the number of life. So certainly, feminine wisdom should figure highly on this day. The wisdom of women. They're the, kind of like, you want to get some wisdom? It's a day to go and ask the wise women around us for their ideas, for their opinions on things to help us to solve the problems. We can also see that the 9 Can energy can very much represent the energy of life, the life force energy itself. And so it's like, right, okay, how do we create our independence? How do we create our independence? Maybe from those in power. How do we see through the illusions? Because Can is about seeing through illusions as well. But really, kind of when we look at it as the number of life with the Nawal of life force energy, we can understand this is where we get that spark of life in a big way. This is where, kind of like things settle in. This is where the wisdom of life comes to us. So 9 Can be a great day to find your life's wisdom and use that to help you to understand how to, guide your life. From 9 Can we're then going into 10 Kame. So we see Kame, the Nawal of facing our fears, the Nawal of ancestors, the Nawal which helps us to connect with our ancestors, the ancestors of our community. The Nawal Kame also seeing the times where we face the things that we're not ready to face, where we get scared about stuff. Now we see it with the number 10, and the number 10 representing our community, representing agreements, representing connections. And so for me, it's pretty obvious what 10 Kame is talking about. It's like, right, okay, this is a day to work with your community to help to face your fears and help them to face their own fears. It's about saying that we are stronger together. When we join our hands, then we can overcome the demons in our world. We can overcome the demons in our life, or overcome the dragons, or however we want to put it. Those things which are our greatest fear are often easiest to overcome together. And here we have 10 Kame giving us the opportunity to do just that. It is also something which builds community, right? Because as we gather, as we join hands, as we help each other through those fears, of course we create bonds, we create understanding, and we create our community in a better way. Now Kame is also about spiritual transformation, which I feel is the upshot of facing our fears. And what better day to spiritually transform our community than the day Kame, 10 Kame. From 10 Kame, we're then going into 11 Kirch. So here we have a rather wild day. We have Kirch, the Nawal of nature, Kirch, the Nawal of the mountain place, the tree place. And here combined with the number 11. Now the number 11 can be an unpredictable number. It can be very, very creative because it's not following, let's say, a predictable track. It's following something where we don't really know which way it's going to go next. And in some ways, I'd like to kind of use the word stampede, because we have the Nawal, which represents the deer and the horse, and 11, which is going off in all sorts of different directions. It's a great day to wander in nature without a plan, to allow your senses to guide you, because Kirch is the one who nourishes us through our connection with the natural world. It is a day to go to the mountains. It is a day to go to the trees. And the 11 is saying wander. Allow your intuition to guide you. Don't fix your path. And where your intuition takes you within that natural world brings you the messages that help you to strengthen, brings you messages that you use to help other people. And maybe this can also help you to understand which information you need to bring into the world in this Trecena of No'j. From 11 Kirch, we're then going into 12 Anil. Now, again, I would get very excited about this day, to be perfectly honest. We have Anil representing the ripening. We have Anil representing bringing things to their ultimate fruition. All the fruits of your labor coming together, the timing of bringing things to their maturity. So for me, when we see Anil, when we're working with Anil, this is about the ripening of the maize. This is about whatever we planted as seeds has come to fruition, and it's time to harvest it. Anil gives us the opportunity to help things to ripen, as well as gather the fruits of our labor. So we can see it from both aspects. Now, we see it here with the number 12, and the number 12 can represent the bundling together of all of life's experiences. So when we see 12 with the Nawal Anil, what it's saying is using our life experience to help us to bring to ripeness whatever it is that we're growing, whatever it is that we're trying to work with in this lifetime. Now, this, in the Trecena of No'j, the Trecena about information and ideas, here we now see that in order to bring that idea, that new idea, to ripeness, we're pulling and drawing on our previous life experiences. It's with that we can bring it to its ultimate golden state, its ultimate ripeness that we can harvest. And then finally, we come to the day 13, Toch. So Toch days, great days for ceremony. Toch days, the days to give back, to give thanks for what we've received. Toch days to balance. Toch days are days on which we make our service, on days on which we make our offerings in order to give thanks for what we've received. Now here we see it at the end of the No'j Trecena, giving thanks for the knowledge perhaps, and where from? The 13 representing the ancestors. So it's a great day to make a donation to Odin, to make a donation in particular also to the elders of Poptun, who are preserving the knowledge for future generations. I mean, 13 Toch is just the ideal day to be supporting that principle, to be supporting that idea. It's also a great day to be making an offering to your ancestors for everything that they have done that puts you where you are today. Everything that they have given that puts you where you are today. There is another side to 13 Toch as well. And we know that, our ancestors maybe did things differently. And some of us have moved into this life with what we could call a karmic burden. Okay, I know that is from a different system, as it were, but we get the principle. Energy went out there, it's still missing. And we've got to do something about it because we're still carrying through our heritage that burden, that debt. Now, there are some people that might say that it is the time now, the generation now, where we are here to break those generational burdens, those ancestral burdens. And so maybe there was something that your ancestors took that still needs to be paid for. Your presence, your idea, your understanding, your knowledge now helps you to understand, hey, we need to work that out. We need to make that payment so that the future generations are not carrying the same burden. 13 Toch is a great day to make that reparation, to make that happen. 13 Toch is a great day, kind of like to do your service, to make your payment in order to clear any spiritual burden that you might carry. So, I hope that has been an interesting video for you. And I look forward to seeing you in 13 days' time when we will be talking about the Trecena of No'j. Thank you.